Programming on 90.7 WKGC and the Commodore Sports Network is sponsored by Sweet Bay. Sweet Bay is a bayfront village in Panama City that features parks, walking trails to the water, a future town center, and more. A community connected at the water's edge, Sweet Bay. More information about Sweet Bay online at sweetbayfl.com or 844-35-SWEET.
This is Coach's Corner.
It's another edition of Coach's Corner from the campus of Gulf Coast State College here in Panama City. Hosted by me, Greg Sherrod, presented by Sweet Bay. And we begin with the Lady Commodores softball head coach Scott Thomas as the Lady Commodores breaking a 4-game losing streak from last week and coming to win 4 in a row this past week, including 2 on Sunday.
Yeah, we played pretty well. We didn't like our first game as well against Coastal Alabama North in the first game, but I challenged the girls between games, and they responded, and we had a really good day yesterday. I just thought our energy was good. We played well. Other than about 1/2 inning of defense, we really played well yesterday. So I was pleased. I thought it was a good step in the right direction.
Coastal Alabama North, a 7-3 and 11-3 win, and then yesterday a 9-1 and 21-0 over Lake Michigan. In those games, you outscored your opponents 48-7.
Yeah, I'll tell you, it's about taking care of business and doing things the right way. I thought yesterday was kind of an interesting deal where I think, and this happens sometimes, you'll face a team that has, one good pitcher, and then they're kind of just in a little bit of a, bringing some young kids along a lot of times in the second game, and that's kind of what we ran into yesterday. Their first pitcher kept us at bay and kept us guessing. What was great about yesterday was I think the kid had won like 18 games last year. We continued to make adjustments. We talk about the A word a lot, which is adjustments, and the girls did a good job. They kept fighting through, and then all of a sudden we broke loose there late in the game and were able to win by run rule in the first game too. But I was really pleased with the way we handled things.
Last week at this time we were chatting about the not getting down after going on the road and losing 4 in a row, and just kept you cool, and you talked about the things that would just get you going again, and apparently it happened.
Yeah, I think so. It's one of those things that we weren't playing horribly, and we were losing, so there were some things we weren't finishing well. So I think the challenge was, hey, let's stay on the gas, make sure that we put people away. We obviously did that pretty well yesterday, and we did a good job of that the other day against Coastal Alabama North, and it's just a matter of we got to use that energy to continue as the season goes on.
Overall record as we head into the first week of March of 14-8 for the Lady Commodores. As far as individuals go, and we talk about some weekly totals from last week. Emily Greek hitting .545, 3 homers, 7 RBIs, and Caroline Woolley hitting .545. You had hitters hitting .500, and even you get down to someone like Summer Johnson who hit .357, but knocked 2 out and had 11 RBIs.
Yeah, and the Summer's been really killing the ball for us. She had a really bad day midweek. It was the worst of her. You didn't have a hit, and then came back yesterday and did really strong. She's one of our leading hitters, hitting .472 overall, and probably the one that we don't talk enough about is probably Caroline Woolley. She's really been squaring it up. She's hitting .534 overall, and that's not like she's just been playing a few games. That's after 58 at-bats. She's hitting over 500, and she just finds a way to get on. Now, the interesting part is because Summer got 11 RBIs, the next 2 batters right behind her are Taylor and Woolley, and them. They don't get as many opportunities at RBIs with Summer cleaning up the bases in front of them. But I think probably the really special one right now, Emily Greek has been struggling mentally at the plate. She's been I challenged her to draw more walks or get her walk and strikeout ratio a little bit more square, and she's done that and had a big week with hitting .545 with 3 home runs and a couple triples, and 7 RBIs. So. Really proud of her, and I'm proud of the whole team. We squared the ball up well.
That's great. And you're running runners on base a lot. I know you've got Ellie Freed who stole 4 bases.
Yeah, Nellie's our leadoff, and speed-wise, she puts a lot of pressure on him. Did a great job. And then, on the, I still say this. I think I said it last week. Belle Wolfenden is the quiet one.
Mm-hmm.
She's doing a great job in a 2-hole for us, and we have some other ones that are coming along. Taylor White just got. She had some things we had to take care of to get her up back on the field. And she did really well yesterday. So there's some real positives there. Hannah Seeger's doing a good job. She hit 500 on the week as well, as well as Taylor Robinson. And they just really, we just really squared the ball up as a whole. So I was really pleased with a lot of our kids.
That's fantastic. Giving up only 7 runs in 4 games, and the ball club just really looking good, getting to play at home too.
Yeah, playing at home has been big, and talk about our pitching staff. I mean, I thought Brittany and Taylor Lee did a great job. They just did a really good job of keeping the ball in the park, giving us ground balls to play. And yesterday, actually, Brittany came up with a big strikeout game, striking out 8. But we just kind of came together yesterday as a team really well, and a team at Lake Michigan. Hey, let's hats off to them. They came in here. I think they had been outside one time, and that was when they got down here. And then this is their first games, and they're here for like a swing here in the Panhandle in South Alabama. So, tough for them, to play us, and we're a little bit more experienced at that point.
But like you were saying, there's some things that the gals are doing that doesn't show up in the box score.
Yeah. There is, and there's a lot of these things in the games, and it's kind of like somebody that's setting great screens. In basketball,
right,
there's no stat that says, hey, somebody that's setting great screens or diving for the ball or doing getting 50-50s. It's kind of the same way in softball or baseball, where you're driving runs, you're getting on base, you're doing the things that maybe somebody's kind of or you hit the ball really hard, it's right at somebody.
Right.
And so that kind of goes against us, but they're doing what they need to be doing to be successful.
Stepping away from the diamond for a second to talk about Coach Thomas's SGA session that you were involved in.
Yeah, one of the things that we try to do, or I try to do, is to combine my experiences and what we're doing on the academic side, and even especially in student affairs. So I was asked to be a part, or actually I volunteered and I guess passed the muster to do a leadership conference that was held here on campus on Saturday. And it went really well, and I really appreciate working with those kids in the SGA, and we had different kids from high school all the way up through some of the continuing education adults that were in the classes, and so it was fun and something that in athletics we kind of get the we got the sports section,
right.
And we're on TV a little bit, but they're doing some special things here to help grow students, not just student athletes, as you would as we're dealing with. So I was really glad to get an opportunity to do that.
That's fantastic. It really is. You start caring about others too, like I say, outside of your particular sport.
Yeah.
We're chatting with Scott Thomas, the head softball coach of the Gulf Coast Lady Commodores, here on Coach's Corner. I think it's time for a little rapid fire for this week. If you're ready for it, there's no right or wrong answer, and there's certainly no prizes on the line. But just want to go. If you're ready for some rapid fire.
Let's do it.
Other than what you do now as an occupation, what job would you like to have?
If I had a dream job beyond this, it would definitely be a professional musician. I would love to sing on the Grand Ole Opry.
That's fantastic.
So that would be my one right now, and I don't think that's going to happen. But anyway, that's what I would do. Yeah.
All right. Just get an agent, producer, sports hero.
Willie Stargell.
Pops
Stargell. Yeah, he was. The Pirates were pretty good when I was a kid, and then we had in Salem, Virginia, really about a half hour from where I grew up, was the Carolina League version of the Pirates, and so we got to see some of those guys come through, John Candelaria and Dave Parker, Mike Easler, some of these guys that were on that '79 Pirates team we got to see coming through. But Pops was the man, you know. So, yeah, I even have a bobblehead in the office.
Is that right?
Yeah, with Willie Stargell.
Number 8, and he was a leader.
He was a leader. He definitely was, and understood people. And I think that was one of the biggest things that he gained people's attention. And you know, with his stars that he gave out, you know, he really drew people in and cared about people.
Yeah, great man, terrific ball player. Biggest inspiration outside of your parents, which I'm sure is probably there. Do you have someone who's the biggest inspiration?
Yeah, outside of my parents, you know, I don't know, and my mom certainly is one. But I think that I was very fortunate to have some really good different coaches. Mm-hmm. You know, when I go back and think about the people that I had in my early days, people like a Leroy Quisenberry, he was just an old kind of a country boy that was just loved baseball and was a good baseball guy. And he taught us when we were little, and then you come up through, and there's guys like Tommy Jones that just knew the game really well growing up. Right. And then Coach Jim Shockley, Coach Dave Christ, John Shipley was my baseball coach. Dave Christ is a legend in Blacksburg, and really so was Coach Shockley as well. Debbie Richardson was a great mentor when I was in women's basketball for a little bit when I finished at East Tennessee State. So I'm very blessed with a lot of people. I can't really point out just one.
All right, very good. Just a couple more quick ones. Boxers or briefs?
Boxer briefs.
Boxer briefs.
Yeah, boxer briefs.
Blondes or brunettes?
Blondes.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm all right with brunettes.
Sure you are.
But my age, coloring is a piece of it too.
Right, absolutely. And that's been a little rapid fire where there are no prizes, no one wins, but it can get interesting. A cool thing that we have going on at Gulf Coast with Coach's Corner, and not only do you watch, obviously, on the TV, but also the WKGC radio, 90.7 on Monday nights at 7. But streaming online, boom, go there, and there's Scott Thomas sitting there talking.
Yeah, I got a buddy of mine that he stays up to date with me. Listen to Greg Sherrod, Kevin Price. He's my man. He does he keeps up with everything that's Gulf Coast softball through Greg Sherrod and Coach's Corner. So it's kind of cool to know that. And I know there's other people that watch it as well. And so anyway, it's friends of mine, and so my shout out to Killer KP.
There you go. And thanks, man. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that. We're about a minute away from wrapping things up. But coming up, you've got a Friday, Saturday, Sunday next week. Georgia Military doubleheader at home. Again on Saturday at Twinville, and in Southeast Illinois, another doubleheader.
Yeah, it's going to be a tough weekend for us as far as getting games in with our pitching depth. But it's the last weekend we have this kind of a stretch. And Georgia Military, we played early down at the Kickoff Classic. We lost to them in a rainstorm, and they took advantage of it. We didn't handle it as well as they did, but those are going to be good games. And not sure about Southeastern Illinois right now, but we've got our hands full with Georgia Military, and we'll deal with that. But come on out. We had a great crowd yesterday. We'd love to have more people out, and excited about what we're doing to kind of stay on a good streak.
Fantastic. You just go to GulfCoastAthletics.com. You can check the schedule, the time, the site. Of course, it's going to be Panama City Joe Tom King Field for a while. So get out and support the Lady Commodores. Scott, always a pleasure.
Thanks, Greg. Enjoyed it.
See you next week.
Okay,
for Scott Thomas, I'm Greg Sherrod. Thanks for tuning in to Coach's Corner.
Programming on 90.7 WKGC and the Commodore Sports Network is sponsored by Sweet Bay. Sweet Bay is a bayfront village in Panama City that features parks, walking trails to the water, a future town center, and more. A community connected at the water's edge, Sweet Bay. More information about Sweet Bay online at sweetbayfl.com or 844-35-SWEET.
Welcome to another edition of Coach's Corner from the campus of Gulf Coast State College here in Panama City, sponsored by Sweet Bay. I'm your host, Greg Sherrod. We're chatting with the head baseball coach of the Gulf Coast Commodores, Mike Kandler. Mike, how's it going?
Good, Greg. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you as always. It's been a pretty good run over the last few days as the Commodores now on a 4-game winning streak.
Yeah, we played pretty well this week. It didn't start out good. We played Coastal Alabama South, and we were down 5-0 before we knew what hit us. And then at some point, we kind of clicked that button or whatever and came back and beat them in that first game on Wednesday, 6-5. And then, I don't know, I guess maybe the weight of the world got off our shoulders a little bit. We came out in the second game and really played well, and I think we won 15-0, which was a nice blowout. I think that was our 6th shutout of the year, so that was encouraging. Then we went up to Cuthbert, Georgia on Saturday and swept a doubleheader up there, which against Andrew College, which is really, it's a place we've always struggled. We usually, maybe we split. We've been swept up there. We don't usually sweep them up there, but we played extremely well, won 7-4, and then came back in the second game and beat them 12-2. So offensively, much better. Things are trending in a good direction. Now we got to keep going this week, of course.
Fantastic. 12-7 for the Commodores' season record so far. You got a game Wednesday at home in the afternoon. Thursday, you go to Mobile to play Spring Hill, and Friday you go to Phoenix City, Alabama, against Chattahoochee Valley. So let's start with Grand Rapids at a home game.
Yeah, they just played Chipola in a 4-game set, and Chipola won 3 of the 4, but they were tight ball games. So we're not going to hopefully overlook them. They come down out of Michigan every year, and scouting reporters, they swing the bats pretty well, so that always gets a little bit scary. So hopefully we can put together a good ball game there, and that'll get our week off to a good start. And then going over to Spring Hill. That's kind of neat. That's the oldest on-campus college baseball field in the country.
Really?
Yeah, it's kind of a lot of nostalgia. Babe Ruth, back when the Yankees would do their barnstorming, working their way north after spring training, Babe Ruth, Lou Gehrig, all those guys played at that field. Satchel Paige has pitched at that field. So there's kind of a lot of tradition in what's going on there. So that'll be fun. And then going up to Phoenix City and playing Chat Valley, very, very difficult place to play. They are a perennial Alabama power, and we'll see what we can do out, on the road. So, definitely not an easy week. Back-to-back road trips Thursday, Friday. So it's going to be a challenge.
Yeah, but be preparing yourself all for the Panhandle Conference.
Correct.
And the first conference game isn't until March 17th. But as fast as this spring is gone,
yeah,
it'll be
exactly. I mean, shoot, it's March right now, so I don't know where it's going, but moving quick.
No kidding. As you look ahead to the conference, and we may be getting maybe a little premature here, but what do you got Tallahassee on the 17th here? What do you see as far as the talent around there?
Well, I think the Panhandle Conference is as good as always. I mean, Northwest Florida's got a big time, maybe the best pitching staff in the country. Chipola is going to be solid. They've been ranked in the top 5 in the nation the entire year so far. And then you got Tallahassee and Pensacola that have been very, very solid. So it's not going to be easy, but at the same time, a lot of times it comes down to you more than them. If you play, like you're supposed to, and you play well, you always have a shot to beat any of them. But it's going to be a fun league again. I'm looking forward to it.
Absolutely. You had your assistant, your pitching coach was in pinch hitting for you last week, Jake Schuster, and it was really interesting when you talked about the technology that goes on with whatever that contraption he had here.
Yeah, the Rapsodo. I mean, and there's several of those type of technological, I'll call it a machine for lack of a better thing, that are out there now. Rapsodo is really a good one, but it's amazing stuff, just the data that it can give you. And, just as a lot of it, it's just kind of how kids are used to learning that way. They're used to technology. They have it in kindergarten now. I mean, we had a trike and a wiffle ball or whatever we had in kindergarten. They've got computers and smart stations and everything else. So the players are used to that, and it just gives so much feedback that even though I'm not sure it's reinventing the game, because it's not, but there's concrete data to support some things that you might think. So, and of course, Jake is outstanding with it. He knows that stuff frontwards and backwards, and just does a great job, and helps the hitters and the pitchers. So it's good stuff.
It reminded me of the younger years. I mean, taming Etch-a-Sketch was kind of tough.
Yeah,
for me.
yeah, exactly.
I mean, you get that in, and then your brother would bump you or something, and
all
half
things
of it would
all
go
messed
off.
up. Yeah.
Where are you going to go with this?
Right.
Right.
So.
It still gives me a
Yeah,
tough
no,
time.
had I really ever thought when I started coaching 30-something years ago that we would have, this much computer influence in, baseball, in sports in general, no shot. But I mean, somebody's figured it out, and it's good. It's a good teaching tool for sure.
backtracking just a second, of the 4 wins over the weekend for you guys, you put up a lot of runs. I mean, you had 40 runs in 4 games.
Yeah, we started to hit a little bit, hit with some power. Miller leads us. Josiah Miller's got 6 home runs, but Justin Kelly and Max Ryerson and Cam Irvin in the middle of the order really started to hit, and things just started to click offensively. They say hitting's contagious, and for us it has been. We did not swing the bat well for about the first 8, 10, 12 games, but it's much better now. That has to continue. Obviously, you can't be just a 1-week wonder. So hopefully that will trend, and I think it will. I think we got good hitters, so that should kind of continue to be that way, I hope.
When you were growing up, you played a lot of other sports.
Yeah, played them all. That's kind of what we all did back then.
Yeah, we did play them all. Yeah. Golf was one thing that you've told me over the years that it just frustrates. Frustrates a lot of people.
I was a pretty competitive person, and I was not good at golf, and it bothered me to golf with these kids that were not very athletic, but they were good at golf, and I could probably beat them in just about anything else, but I could not beat them in golf. So I actually, when I was about 20, 21 years old, I was out in Arizona golfing with my brother-in-law, and shanked for about the 17th time out of 17 drives, and sliced it, over into the houses, and I just said, that's it. I put the club down, and I said, I'll never hit another golf ball, and I haven't. So it's been 30-something years,
But you're a fan of watching.
I love golf. I love watching golf. I really respect golfers. It's the ultimate mental game, and that's kind of, for me, that's interesting. It's intriguing. So Sunday afternoons, there's nothing better than turn on the tournament and see who's, to watch that final round of any. It's particularly the majors, but any golf tournament. So I really have a lot of respect for it, but I'm right around terrible at it. So it's not something I do a lot anymore.
If you haven't played baseball or excelled in baseball more, what do you think you'd have been best at?
Well, if I could go backwards in life, and I think we all think that, I've really enjoyed it. The coaching thing has just been a wonderful thing. But I'm thinking maybe law school and a lawyer. I think there's a lot of competitive things in being a lawyer, and it's kind of presenting the best possible, a defense lawyer presenting the best possible case for your client would be very interesting to me. I think you would get that same competitive fix out of it, and I've kind of always been a big fan of all the TV shows that involve the lawyer stuff. I'm reading a Grisham book right now, and so that's I think maybe something like that. Now, there was one little hitch in that giddy up. I guess it would have involved getting through law school. That might have been a problem. But if I could have just been a lawyer without the law school thing, maybe that would have been the route I would have gone.
That leads into a little rapid fire.
Bring it.
Bring it here. And you just touched on an occupation that you would have liked to have done if you weren't doing what you're doing now,
right.
Or what it led to. A sports hero?
Oh, I had a bunch of them. Basketball was Maravich and Julius Erving, but football, Walter Payton. Even though I was a Packer fan, I just respected how he played so much. But the biggest sports hero I had by far was Robin Yount. That was my man growing up in Wisconsin. He hit the big leagues. He hit the scene at 18 years old, right. And it was just like this amazing talent. But the thing that I really respected, it wasn't, the 3,000 hits. It wasn't that he won a Gold Glove at shortstop and in center field. It was just the way he played. I mean, right. he ran every ball out. He played hard. He was not very. He was pretty soft-spoken. He wasn't the big media darling or anything. He just showed up, played every day, and really, really an amazing player and just a great role model for all of us that were learning how to play. Right, that's the guy you wanted to watch because he played the game the right way.
Yeah, I love the way he conducted himself off the field as well.
Right. Now, I had a unique experience as a young coach. I was coaching at the University of California, San Diego, and I actually coached Yount's nephew, Doran Yount. And one day we're playing somebody, and I looked at Doran and I said, "Your uncle's here." And of course, his reaction, like any kid, which one? I said, well, the only one, Robin. He said, no, he's not. I said, that's him sitting right over there down here. And he said, oh my goodness, he didn't know he was coming. So I had an opportunity to meet Robin after the game, and he's just exactly like you would expect, just a nice guy, very humble, and didn't have a whole lot to say, to be honest. Just kind of, regular average Joe that was pretty darn good at baseball and driving dirt bikes. He could do those two things. Yeah.
Great ball player. Milwaukee Brewers. He stayed with the same team his entire career too.
But unheard of in today's world. And that's kind of a neat thing. I think the guy gets a chance, and he's very, very gets a chance to stay with the team for that long. And he's very active now. As you know, all the different events the Brewers have going on, Yount is really a big part of a lot of things that they're doing up there still. So, still the face of the franchise after all these years.
Absolutely. We said rapid fire. They don't always get rapid. We kind of go around here, Rob, which is a good thing. I mean, great stories.
Yeah.
This guy tells the great stories. But back real quick to how about favorite TV sitcom?
Oh boy, that's tough. But I think I'm going to go with Cheers.
Okay.
Yeah. But Seinfeld's awfully good too.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and then you go a little earlier than that, and Taxi was good. But you know what? I think my real answer is Barney Miller.
Okay.
So how about that? There was a lot of good ones. I don't know if there's any good ones now. I don't really watch them, but there was a lot of good ones back then.
You got a favorite?
Sanford and Son was good too, and All in the Family.
No,
I mean,
that goes. The list goes on. Favorite breakfast food?
Without a doubt, bacon. I think you can put bacon on anything, and just bacon. But bacon is good. Bacon on a shoe would be good. It doesn't matter. So, I'm a bacon guy. Yeah, I'm like whatever his name was, Curly on City Slickers, or you know.
Oh,
yeah.
yes.
You can't just eat bacon. Yeah, you can.
Jack Palance.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
There you go. You can eat all the bacon you want. It's good for you. That's what they're finding out now.
Bacon on a shoe. I'm making a note of that because that sounds tempting.
Sure. Why not?
Rapid fire. No prizes to the winner, and certainly no right or wrong answers, obviously. Mike, again, let's get back to the what's coming up for you and how are things, a state of the team address kind of thing right now.
I think we're about where I expected to be. We certainly haven't, underachieved, but we haven't overachieved either. We're kind of just, feeling our way around, getting a little better as we go. I think these next 2 weeks are critical. We got to hit conference on a high. If you go in there questioning and doubting yourself, it really gets difficult. So I would say right now, March 1st, March 2nd, whatever the date is, we're about where I thought we would be.
Yeah.
Attitudes have stayed strong. Effort's been good. Now we still need a couple of guys to, performances need to increase, but that's kind of normal. And I think we can keep getting better. So that's a positive too. I certainly don't think we've peaked yet.
Wednesday, March 4th at 3 o'clock in the afternoon at Bill Frazier Field. Your only chance this week to see the Commodores at home and in person. They play Grand Rapids. Again, it's at 3 o'clock, first pitch. Again, back to the bacon on a shoe, Robin Yount. And
it's good stuff right there.
It's excellent. These notes will stay with me for a while. So.
Yeah.
Coach Mike Kandler, join us on Coach's Corner. We'll see you next week.
See you next week.
All right, hang in there.
Yep. Thank you.
I'm Greg Sherrod, and we do thank you for tuning us in on Coach's Corner. We will see you next time.